Imagine this, a school assembly is ready to start. The choir is prepared and as expected, you will be standing in attention position because the national anthem is about to begin. But no, that has been changed. The first words here would be not of national anthem but of the national song, that is Vande Mataram, because in 2026, Ministry of Home Affairs has finally standardized something that has been stirring the emotions, the culture of our nation for more than 9 decades. That means after 150 years of Vande Mataram, there has been codification, formalization given to it. What once began as a freedom slogan, then a cultural symbol, now it has become a state protocol. And when we are looking at the state protocol and the guidelines of Vande Mataram, there are multiple deeper questions that are around. Is this about cultural symbolism? Is it about nationalism? And how does one decide where it lies? Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and in today's session we will be discussing about the Vande Mataram guidelines which has been released by Ministry of Home Affairs. When we are talking about these guidelines, this is the first structured protocol that we have to avail, especially for our national song, that is Vande Mataram. If you talk about national anthem, it has its constitutional provisions, it has statutory provisions for protection, but for Vande Mataram this is happening for first time that we are getting a structured protocol, and this development is much more important than that because this is the first time we are not only seeing codification but also at the very same time we are seeing departure from the 1937 practice that was set in for Vande Mataram, where we were using only the first 2 stanzas. And we also get to see an extension on national honor protections for the national song as well as national anthem. And please do not forget, this is very closely associated with politically and also constitutionally sensitive development that will take place in our country. When we are talking about this particular guideline, let us understand that what this order mandates. This order mandates that when we are talking about our national song Vande Mataram, in this context all the 6 stanzas will be sung and our national anthem will be preceded by Vande Mataram. So first Vande Mataram will play and then Jan Gan Man, that is our national anthem, that will take place. There has been also mandation of standing in attention position and certain exceptions have been also given. We also get to see a push for community and mass singing at multiple functions, critical functions, and also in schools. So all of this marks a major institutional shift, especially in terms of how national song has been treated over the years, over the decades, especially not just in the country but also official ceremonies, community singing and everything around it. Now on this note, a very important question that must come to your mind is the fact that why all of a sudden we have decided to codify this. Now the timing is of great essence here, but at the same time we also need to look into another important factor, that is intention. So we'll be moving towards that, but first let us talk about the historical origin, because when we want to talk about the timing, we need to understand where is this coming from. So when we are talking about Vande Mataram, this particular song, it was written back in 1875. And it was written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. He was the writer of this song, and later in 1882, it was published in his novel, that is Anand Mat. Now, when we are talking about the original composition, this whole composition had 6 stanzas, and this was a very important symbol, a slogan, if you remember, from Swadeshi movement for the whole resistance against the British rule after that and whole of the freedom movement. So it is not something that holds literary significance but also symbolic significance, that how it has influenced our freedom movement, how important, integral it has been, integrally it has been important for that, and how it has been regarded after that. So, after 1947, in 1950, it got the honor and the label of national song. Now, when we are talking about after independence, another important thing that you need to remember here, that in 1937, there was a compromise that was taken up, and that compromise was that Vande Mataram would be officially taken only for 2 stanzas, because the later stanzas, they had symbolism associated with Hindu goddesses such as Durga and others. So, that might hurt the sentiments of other communities, and that is why in 1937, the Congress decided to drop the other stanzas and use the only opening 2 stanzas for official use. Now, this was the main reason of contention that we have seen in parliamentary debates in the recent past. The whole idea back in 1937 was to prevent the alienation of other communities, especially in a very communally sensitive environment that had built up back then. Now, another important thing that we are bringing this here is because when we are talking about 2026 MHA guidelines, we are seeing an absolute departure from this practice of using just 2 stanzas. These guidelines talk about using all the 6 stanzas present. Now, this also highlights the reason we are talking about not just historical significance, this as well. This will give you an idea into the intent part. Now, we will be straight up moving towards understanding why now. If you want to understand that what exactly was the controversy that was taken up in the winter session of Parliament around Vande Mataram, I have already covered it in a video. You can go and watch that in detail. Now, when we are talking about the specific timing part, as I said, why now, it just do not. When we are talking about why now, it is not just about timing, it is also about intention here, because the timing part we get to understand that Vande Mataram has completed 150 years, 2026 marks the 150th anniversary since Vande Mataram has been written. But when we are talking about the intent part, it is also about administrative codification. When we have been for so long giving that honor to the national anthem in form of a protocol, national song unfortunately did not have any duration norms, it did not have any order for performance, there was no defined ceremonial occasions as well. And that is why Ministry of Home Affairs is trying to ensure that whatever was lagged for previously 9 decades, that should be addressed. Another thing that is here that needs to be understood, that legal alignment was absent for national song. National anthem did have the legal protections, but national song will be finally closer to the framework of prevention of insults to National Honor Act, which was brought in 1971. And when we are talking about intent, we can definitely cannot take away the political color coming from this particular change, is the fact that this is the one which revives the debate of 1937, especially amidst the split we are talking about and national parties such as BJP and Congress. And this is a very simple indication that what we would want. We would want to have the original cultural symbolism as whole, or we would want to compromise and facilitate communities. So, in this context, yes, it does have a political flair to it. Now, on this note, we will be straight up moving to understand that what exactly has been changed, so as to ensure that when we are talking about how it has been done, why it has been done, we get to see that actually if it has been delivered or not. So, when we are talking about the key provisions of the 2026 MHA guidelines, the first one is about the order of performance. If national song is being played at all, then national song will precede national anthem. That means Vande Mataram goes first and then Jan Gan Man will be sing. After that, we get to see that 6 stanzas have been made mandatory and a duration has also been locked for it, that is 3 minutes 10 seconds. No cutting of stanzas, no limiting it to 2 stanzas, all 6 stanzas will be sung and the duration has also been fixed. Apart from that, there has been a protocol also associated with it, that mandatory attention position is required. The only exception that has been given has been when Vande Mataram is being played during documentaries or news reels or in cinema halls, that is when this standing protocol can be exempted or not followed. Furthermore, we also get to see that the guidelines have a clear list of mandatory occasions where Vande Mataram needs to be played and it is compulsory, such as arrival and departure of the president, unfurling of the national flag. So, if the national flag is unfurled, first goes the Vande Mataram and then comes the Jan Gan Man. After that, if there are any civilian award ceremonies, please remember we are talking about civilian awards, not gallantry awards. So, Padma awards, if they are being awarded in such ceremonies, or if you are talking about Bharat Ratna, in that context, Vande Mataram has to be compulsorily played. Apart from that, important public government functions, if schools are starting their assembly, then they have to begin with community singing of national song. Now, this is where you might be able to understand that this also has a very clear debate associated with it, that India is also codifying that how one wants to express the sentiments of nationalism. It is not necessary that if I am not singing Vande Mataram, I am not dedicated towards the nation. So, this codification also talks about the curbs, the restrictions on the fundamental rights of speech, that you cannot, the state should not be the one dictating and codifying this. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. Now, this is where we will move ahead and also understand that how these guidelines bring national song with more alignment towards national anthem as well. So, when we are talking about national anthem, we have to understand national anthem, which was written by Rabindranath Tagore, again labelled, given the status of national anthem, the Jan Gan Man, written by Rabindranath Tagore, which was given the status of national anthem back in 1950. It has strict protocols in place, it has its protection in place. For example, under Prevention of Insults to National Honour Act 1971, any insult or disruption of national anthem is punishable up to 3 years. If we are talking about standing in attention, it is mandatory, and anthem cannot be dramatized or commercialized at all. So, when we are talking about such a protection, when we look at the 2026 guidelines for Vande Mataram, they place national song and national anthem in some alignment, because now national song also has a parallel ceremonial status. However, even after this, there is lack of explicit constitutional mention. National song does not have explicit constitutional mention nor any explicit constitutional protection as well. Because when we are talking about national anthem, we get to see there is not only statutory protection, there is also constitutional basis. Article 51A of fundamental duties, where the respect to national flag and national anthem is explicitly mentioned. But even though if we talk about national song, it is not explicitly mentioned, multiple courts including Supreme Court has repeatedly emphasized that the constitutional patriotism as well as respect for national symbol needs to be maintained, including the national song. So yes, this steps does bring national song in much more alignment to the codification that has been given to national anthem, but yet we get to see that there is certain distance, but that does not mean that distance should be the reason for any sort of disrespect to national song. Now, on this note, I will be moving to another dimension around this debate, is the fact that what significance this move holds. When we are talking about significance, the first important significance is definitely that it is going to fill the institutional gap that was present in terms of ceremonial framework. But more than that, we have to understand that how it shows a departure from 1937 practice and how it is directly related to cultural symbolism, and it and how it touches upon not just pluralism but also minority inclusion, and also what state should direct or not direct in terms of the sentiments. So these debates around it make it much more important as a guideline to understand, and then as the citizens, as the public, we need to wrap our heads around it and open our minds as well to think that what should be taken of it and what shouldn't be. Because when we are talking about this debate, one side of it can be seen that this is a unification measure where a whole country can be brought up under one particular sentiment. But the other side might also feel that this might alienate certain communities, certain communities might not feel associated with the cultural symbolism that we are going for. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.